Welcome to episode 1 of Woman Unraveled. I'm Michelle Haslam, and I am a woman who turned 40 6 years ago, and my life unraveled. So I wanted to talk about it because the whole point, the purpose of this podcast is to help women over the age of 40 whose lives are either stuck or changing or about to change. And I want them to feel not so alone. Okay, that is something that's seriously important to me. It is my purpose in life is to help women feel not alone. So here I am putting myself out there. I almost didn't record this because of my belly rolls. I did a TikTok about this the other day, and you will learn more about the fact that I'm a content creator. I'm on TikTok, and I talk about this stuff quite a lot. But I did a video yesterday saying I don't want to do the podcast because of my belly rolls, because I am overweight. And so I almost didn't film this. I genuinely, even though I have the setup now, including my funky light, by the way, yeah, I nearly didn't film this. But here we are. I'm putting myself out there because I'm not the only one with rolls, and I'm not the only one feeling utterly lost in life. So the point of this podcast is never going to be expertise as such. It could be little pointers that have helped my life. I could have people on in the future who have gone through something that the majority of us might go through, but they won't be experts. That I'm not getting a load of PhD type people in. I'm getting people in who are like us. Okay, so the podcast is never going to be more than 30 minutes long. I'm going to try and keep it to 20 minutes absolute max because my attention span, I can't cope with long podcasts anymore. I used to absolutely love the Mel Robbins one, but every single episode now is over an hour, and I don't have the mental capacity for that, so I don't listen anymore. Might be a bit sweary at times. I am someone who does throw in the old F bomb. So apologies for that if that offends you. I mean, don't listen if that's going to offend you. It won't be every other word, but now and again, fuck it, right? So I think the thing I want to talk about today is just a bit of an intro to myself, which might sound a little bit boring, and it probably is, but I suppose I want to establish a bit of a rapport, as in what you're going to get for future episodes. So I turned 40 6 years ago. I've literally just had my 46th birthday at the time of filming. And that particular year, I had just got married, and I didn't celebrate my 40th birthday because everyone had just come to my wedding. We'd had a big party. I didn't want to overdo it. It was too much celebrating. So I didn't have a 40th birthday party or anything. And there was a new season of life that happened when I turned 40. So at the time, I was in a job. I had a 2-year-old, or an almost 2-year-old, and a 5-year-old. So the 5-year-old was at school, 2-year-old was at nursery 3 days a week, where I worked my part-time job. I was a compliance officer, a senior manager within a financial services, well, within my dad's financial services practice. And obviously, that was the year before COVID. And yeah, then COVID happened. That was fun. We had to homeschool one of my kids, and the other one just had a great time playing around with her family. But it was, yeah, when I think back to it, I have a genuine PTSD moment of horror when I think back to that time. Me and my husband coped fine, just about. We both worked from home. We both uh, juggled our businesses, and eventually I was sent on furlough to be able to help, well, to be able to sort out the kids, essentially, because someone had to. But I felt unsettled. I felt trapped. I think everyone felt trapped during COVID, right? But even when things started to open up afterwards, there was a definite feeling of feeling trapped in that house. I, at the time, started a new business, a side hustle type business of affiliate marketing. I started on TikTok, and I started to earn a little bit of money in that way until the company I was working for, my dad essentially needed to retire, and the company that I was working for closed down. So I had the decision to make. Do I carry on with my side hustle, or do I go down the route of finding another job? Anyway, I went down the side hustle route. Why not? It was agreed with the husband that that's what we could do. So I did it. So I had been working in finance, and then I started working a lot more creatively. And thankfully, that now suits me much, much better. Uh, so I didn't have a 9 to 5. I was working at home all day. My husband had just started working at home with his new job as well. And yeah, I was stifled. I was trapped. Uh, yes, one of my kids was at school, the other one at nursery, but I still, yeah, I struggled. I really, really struggled big time. Uh, and then the shit really hit the fan. So on New Year's Eve of 2022, so the very beginning of 2023 started like this. My mum died, and this was my biological mum. I do have step parents as well, but this was my biological mum, who with whom I didn't have a close relationship, but I still had to sort out all her crap. So my biological mum died. That's how 2023 started off for me. I will go into that in more detail in another podcast because it's a whole other thing, to be honest. But it began the worst year of my life, essentially. So the beginning of that year, I was clearing out her stuff. She was a hoarder. She was a hoarder, and we had to get me and my stepsister had to get my stepdad to a point where he could live in the place that they had been in together. Um, and then in the March of that year, I got diagnosed with perimenopause. I was 43, I think. And so, yeah, I started on HRT at that point. And then in the June of that year, my husband and I decided to separate. We had to live together for the remainder of the year while we sorted out finances, and until I could move out. And yes, it was my decision to leave that house and move out and start fresh. So that 2024, in the January of 2024, that's when that all happened. A big year, 2023. And then, so my life now is obviously completely different. I am now in my own place. I have my children. So my children now are 7 and 10 years old, and I have them 50-50, or 50% of the time. My husband has them 50% of the time, which is great. He's a great dad, and I'm glad they have that relationship with him. And now I'm a single mum, which is a label I never thought I would have. Here I am. I'm co parenting. I'm running a house. I'm running a business. I go to therapy. Uh, I've had to work through a fair amount of childhood and adulthood type trauma. And we're still going through it, but we made a lot of progress. I've been doing that for 18 months now as we speak. So a lot has happened. And this podcast is essentially going to be helping women over 40 who have struggled or are struggling or are potentially about to go through some struggles. I think something happens at the age of 40 where we reassess our lives. We think to ourselves, am I happy with what I have? Am I happy with what I've done? Now, I don't know about you guys, if anyone is watching who's had children, it is a time of life where most women, by from what I've spoken to my school mum friends, most women lose themselves for a good few years after they have children. I know I did. For probably 6 to 7 years, I lost myself completely. My own personality wasn't there. I was just mum, wife, colleague. That's it. That's all I was. I was not me. Something happens when your children get a bit older. You've gone through that period of life of bringing them up, the newborn to toddler. I mean, insanity, toddlers, but newborn to toddler to then school age kids. Something happens when they go to school where there's an almost, I know they're people beforehand, but they're like little humans. They're proper little humans, aren't they? when they get to that age. So for me, that's that was a game changer of a time when they became that age, and I suddenly had enough mental space to concentrate on myself. So that's what I did. That's when I started the new business. And I just so you know, I tried lots and lots of different businesses before I found what worked for me. I have been on TikTok now for over 4 years, on and off, documenting my life, documenting my journey, documenting the business, trying to be as honest as possible about everything that happens. And this is what this podcast is going to be. It's sort of an extension of my TikTok videos because I want people to see that they're not alone. They're not alone. So I'm not going to be one of those experts that come on and say, here are 3 positive ways you can change your life. But what I will do is say what has worked for me. That is something that I will do. I will say what hasn't worked, what has worked. I will tell you honestly my regrets. I will tell you things that, have gone wrong in my life. I will tell you things that have gone right in my life because, life is like that, isn't it? A little bit of both. Um, right. This is going to be quite a short podcast episode because I just wanted to do the intro. Hopefully, it's piqued your interest a little bit. Please do subscribe, follow whatever platform you're looking at this on, because I would love to make this as big as possible to reach as many women as possible. So if there's anything in any of the episodes that I share that you think is valuable information, or, oh my God, I know a friend who's gone through that, please do share it with your friends, with your family. Um, and just know, always know, you are not alone. Okay. You always have friends and a community with the people who are watching this, and with me. And what I would love to build as time goes on is a proper community. So I will at some point set that up so that us over 40s women have a place to go to, that is safe, that is uh, honest and raw, and dare I say the buzzword, authentic. We will be authentic. Right, I'm going to stop that there, guys. It is an absolute pleasure. I'm so pleased I got this done, by the way. I mean, oh my God, I've been in my own head. I have been going around in circles. I'm very lucky. I've got a dad who's quite techie and has some. So I got a big light here, and look, basically the setup that he's helped me do this with. But I almost didn't do this just because I feel fat, I feel overweight, and I will be talking about that plenty, I'm sure, in the podcast. Right, guys, I will leave that there. See you next episode.